So how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, doing great. I'm excited to be here and chat with you.
Good. I'm excited to chat with you too. I've been seeing you floating around my social media for a couple years now, and I'm like, one day I want to sit down and talk with her and work with her. You're adorable. Everything that I see, I just love.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into some questions here, and then I'm going to hit you with like a rapid fire at the end. Kind of what we do. We're going to get to know you a little bit better. And I can tell you there's been lots of people who've told me, you're sitting down with Savannah. I'm so excited to get to know her and hear more about her. And I'm like, me too. Mm. So I'm just going to dive in here with some questions. I did a little research on you. And so what I saw, you can correct me if any of this is wrong. You have been narrating since 2022. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Awesome. So did you have a background in narration or acting, or did you just sort of like, how did you get into it?
So I didn't. I used to be a teacher
Okay.
and I just kind of stumbled my way into this industry. About 3.5 years ago, I realized I needed a change and I started investigating some other things that I could do instead of teaching. And I actually had a coworker bring up audiobooks because I've always been just obsessed with books.
Yeah.
and audiobooks too. Like I was always listening to audiobooks and talking about them. And then one of my co-teachers was like, "What about audiobooks?" And at the time I was like, "That's not something a school teacher from Kansas can do." No, I don't think so. And I just kind of dismissed it. But then Meta is always listening, the creepers. And I started getting ads on my social media about audiobook narration. And most of those ads were just like junk, people trying to sell you things that are predatory. But it did kind of make me realize, oh, this is something people do from their houses. I thought it was like professional actors in LA or New York City, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Um, then I went down the rabbit hole and I did a whole lot of research and just scraped together a little studio and did some coaching and decided to put a couple of auditions in and I booked them and I was like, okay, let's do it.
Nice.
So I think I had a steeper learning curve at the beginning than a lot of my colleagues who came from an acting background, but I really loved it. I've always loved books and stories and I've always been very dramatic and so yeah, it's just been super fun place to find myself. So
Yeah.
that's how I wound up here.
That's how you end up here. I love it. That's a great story. So basically the books brought you to the narration and the rest is history. That's fabulous. So a little bit about your narration style. Do you read the book before you narrate them?
Yes, I do. I do. I read them first. I feel like I have to know the story arc in order to tell the story the way that I want to, and also know how to voice all the characters and all those kinds of things. So, yes, I do.
Okay. I'm always curious about that. Like if it's because then I don't want to say it becomes redundant because you have to read it a second time. But like you said, it's definitely good to get to know each character and where they end up so that you in
Yes.
the beginning, you don't have all the details and it can help you in your acting, I would think.
It helps me. I've heard even some really, really famous narrators say that they don't because kind of what you're saying. I respect that. I just think for my process, I have to know. Now, I will say, I don't read every single word anymore. I used to read every single word. I have gotten really good at scanning and knowing where to look for the important information and that kind of stuff. I absolutely read most of it, but like if there's a big expository section or something like that, I might kind of get the gist of it, but still while still keeping it fresh for me to discover or so to speak as I'm narrating. So it's kind of both of those things, I think.
Yeah. So how do you decide on a voice? Do you rely on the authors who give you, you know, I know we do like breakdowns of this character, that character, all that kind of stuff. But then the final say of the voice comes to you. Do you go by feeling? How would you say that like you decide this is the way this character is going to go?
So it definitely depends. It depends on the production house and it depends on the author too. Sometimes I get very detailed notes about characters and sometimes I get nothing. And in those cases, if I get notes from authors, I will absolutely use those. And that helps me kind of get a picture of who those characters are. And if not, then that's my job with prep is kind of letting those characters speak to me. And most of the time, by the time I get to the end of a book, I know what they're going to sound like. I kind of feel like they speak to me and I know who they're supposed to be and I don't have to stress over it too much. Sometimes it gets tricky when there's like, the 9 best friends who are all 24-year-old females, with the same accent and, that kind of thing. Then you kind of have to play a little bit more with texture and all that kind of stuff to still distinguish their voices while staying true to who the characters are. But for the most part, yeah, like they tell me what they sound like.
Mm-hmm. And their personality and just how they come across off.
Yeah, and it's just yes, because it's really for the most part it's not as much about what they sound like as who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So someone who's really dry, she might just kind of say things like they are. Whereas if you're really upbeat and kind of like very bouncy, it just can change your delivery even more so than the voice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, it's both of those. It's both of those things, but yeah.
Do you think your years as being an avid reader would definitely, I mean, that definitely has helped in your acting because you've read so many characters and so many books. So do you think you pull off of different personalities just from all the books you've read over time?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think being a reader first is really critical. Anytime someone comes to narration, if they're not a reader, I'm kind of like, well, are you sure?
Yeah. Might be a hard job.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely. Yeah, for sure. Sure.
So do you have a favorite genre to narrate?
So, okay, my 3 favorites, just anything romance. We're all shocked. I know, totally, totally taken aback. But what? I love romance. I love love stories in all shapes and sizes and types. And then I also really love fantasy.
Okay.
And romantasy makes me just super, super happy.
Well,
I love it.
what was your favorite as a kid? Were you into the fantasy books as a kid? And that's just sort of like, because I know for me, we all grew up on Disney and stuff, right? So when we come to later in life, when we get like the adult romantasy versions, I mean, they're just fun. It's hard to leave that world once you experience it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I definitely grew up on Disney. I love the fairy tale retellings. Those are like, so delicious. And I especially love the fairy tale retellings where the villain gets the girl.
Oh, yeah.
Those are especially enjoyable. Yeah. And my other genre that I love that I haven't done as much of, but I'm hoping to over time is thrillers.
Thrillers. Okay.
Yes.
I love thrillers too. I'm kind of and I say this to lots of people, I'm kind of a mood reader with the weather. And I think most of us are. Like in summer, we're doing more rom-coms. And I noticed that I read more of my thrillers like between January and March. There's something about the cold, dreary weather that just is like, it seems like the time to pick up a good thriller. I don't know. It might just be me. But
I totally get that.
yeah, it's something about coming into October and the nights get shorter and a little spookier and you're like, okay, it's thriller weather for sure. For sure.
Uh-huh.
So this is kind of, I've asked people this before, but I'm going to ask you this. You do a lot of lives on TikTok and you do live narration. So what is your process when you do that for handling maybe sensitive or challenging content? Do you narrate that? Do you give people warnings before you go into it? How do you kind of handle that?
That's a great question. I mean, so TikTok in and of itself, that's where I do my live narrating is on TikTok. And you're not allowed to do anything graphic. So, or you'll get in trouble, which I have learned the hard way.
I think we all have. We all have from time to time. We've all gotten our hands sort of like smacked. So,
Yep. So, that kind of limits some of what I can do. And so I'll mute or I'll just get off for those chapters or whatever the case may be. But like just this morning, I was narrating, I'm doing a dark mafia romance right now. And there was a attempted essay scene. And so I just like, as I started getting into it, I just kind of gave, are you still there?
yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, you're
My
fine. I'm
computer
listening.
screen just went black. And I
Oh.
was like, wait, do that. Anyway, my stupid tech self here. But yeah, I just kind of paused and I just said, hey, this is going to be this type of scene. If that's a trigger for you, you might just scroll away for a little while and, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kind of just like that. But anything that's graphic, I either mute or hop off for.
Got it. Got it. I didn't know that you could mute. I guess you can, huh? I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So if it's super graphic, you just
I
mute
can.
for like a minute or whatever and then come back type of thing.
Yeah. So like there's certain words, sometimes even like it's not graphic scene at all, but they'll just throw the word like you stupid cunt or something like that. And like you can't say that on TikTok or you'll get in big trouble. So you're just like, hold on, I have to mute for a sentence. So, there's a fair amount of that. Or if it's a short scene or something, then I'll mute. If it's a long scene, I usually just get off live because if I'm muted for such a long time, that just feels a little weird.
Well, now I understand it better because I have scrolled past narrators who are live and narrating and some of them are muted. I'm like, what are we doing? Aren't you supposed to be talking? So now I understand why they're probably muting
They're
themselves.
probably doing something spicy.
Yeah. Okay. I get it now. I get it. So do you do all of your kind of narration live or is there times during the day where it's just you and your booth and you're not in front of anyone?
Yeah. There's definitely times where it's just me and my booth. It depends on the book. It's whatever I have permission for. So there's definitely books that I don't have permission to do live. Some publishers, it's just an absolute no. And so, then of course I'm not going to. Some publishers, it's a blanket yes. And most of the time it depends on the author. So it just depends from project to project. And I like doing it both ways. I think that having a live audience is very, most of the time, 95% of the time, it's very energizing for me. I like, I like that. I also think that I'm more productive and just kind of get more done.
I can see that. Yeah.
Because I'm not tempted to like, oh, okay, chapter break. Let me scroll my phone for 2 minutes and then 20 minutes goes by or, things like that.
Yeah, we do the same thing when we're writing. I do the same. It's just like, oh, I finished a chapter. Now I can scroll my phone for an hour that turns into 2. It's like, no, you're supposed to be writing. Like, so I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why do we do this?
Yeah.
I certainly do. So I think that kind of helps. But yeah, so both ways. I think sometimes it's nice to have a break from being live and just be by myself for a little bit, but it's a really good mix for me. I'm a very introverted person, but I call myself like an extroverted introvert.
Okay.
Because I get really tired out being around people, but I do love it. And so it's kind of a good balance because I kind of control it with the lives, and I can get like the feedback and the energy from people in my chat without, all the noise and all the, it's kind of a little bit more the balls in my court and just on a personal level, it just kind of works for me.
I could definitely do that. Yeah. No, I get it 100%. So what does a day in the life look like for you as narration goes? Well, if you wake up, what do? You jump straight in the booth, you go take a walk. What is a day in the life of Savannah?
I know. Okay. I would love to tell you that I go for a walk every day. I would love to tell you that, Evelyn, but I am not in that phase right now. I need to be desperately. I am at a point where I'm very, very, I'm very fortunate to be quite booked. And so it's kind of work and family. And
Yeah.
so those are my two big priorities. So, I get up in the morning and I get my kids off to school and my husband goes to work, and then I hop into the booth pretty quickly. I'm usually in the booth by 9 a.m. and I will record until my stomach gets too loud, and then I know it's time for lunch. And sometimes that's at 11:30, and sometimes that's at 2:30. I genuinely don't ever know. From day to day, I don't have like a hard and fast like this is when I stop for lunch. I
Yeah.
just go until I need a break. And sometimes that's most of my day, and sometimes it isn't. And so then I'll get a little lunch and then jump back in. And then I stop at 3 the day and I go pick up my kids from school and do the family stuff. And then I'm usually working most nights, whether that's prepping or recording more after my kiddos go to bed. Most nights I work more. So
Yeah.
lots of work, but I love it. So that's good.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough juggling the kids and the husband and the life and all of it in between. So I commend you for that. I know how that is. I've got three of my own. Mine are teenagers though, so they're a little bit. They can fend for themselves some, but then they don't too because they're teenagers, and it's always, "Mom, where's this? Mom," So I mean, you get it both ways. So it's a lot to
Yeah,
juggle.
it is. It really is. Women are just the most magical creatures. And I don't know how we do what we do. I really don't.
I don't either, to be honest. I think about that sometimes, but then I think, I don't think there's anything else we would all rather be doing. We kind of are just fueled this way and created this way to just keep going and nurture and take care of everyone and then still try and take care of us. And I couldn't see my life being any other way. So, but you're right.
I love that perspective. Yeah.
We are magical. And I saw that on your social media the other day, and I was just like, wait, yes, we are magical. We definitely are.
We are. Absolutely. Listen to me. If we're going to do everything, then we're going to get the credit. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get the credit.
There you go. Yes. Oh man, I love that. We need to pin that on like a shirt or something. Women are magical beings. We absolutely, I mean, we can give birth and we can still nurture and take care of ourselves and everybody else in between and somehow juggle it all. Don't know how.
Right. I don't know how. I don't either.
So something else that I saw you say was that books are the great unifier. Can you elaborate on
Yes.
that?
Oh, I believe that with all of my heart. Okay. So I've talked about this before, but I don't know. So I grew up a very, very religious, conservative, high control religion. And I think constantly, like I still have a lot of family and friends that are still in that. And it just sometimes it baffles me. And I mean, nothing against religion itself, but just that trying to think of how I want to phrase this.
No, I get it. It's difficult because I grew up exactly like that as well. Just very
Yeah. I don't want to say I don't want to say anything to step on anybody's toes ever, but it's just I think that I think that one of the things that helped me kind of break out of some of those what I would consider to be oppressive mindsets and very harmful ideologies, I think it was books. I always had my nose stuck in a book. Always, always, always. And that was one thing that my parents didn't really monitor for for my benefit. They're like, "Oh, she's reading a book. It's probably
great.
fine."
She's reading. Good.
And you know what I mean? Thank God for that.
Yeah.
And I think I just remember all of these stories, all of these different people, and especially as I got into middle school and high school and college. And I grew up in this very, very small, very cloistered community of, middle class white America. And I wasn't exposed to people who are different from me. And there's very much this fear
Mhm.
of what's different in the environment that I in particular grew up in. That's all I can speak to. And in my opinion, I think that that's a very scary place to be.
Mhm.
to where you're just afraid of everyone who's different from you, of everything that's different.
Mhm.
And I think books was it truly did just open my mind, open my heart to people who were different from me. And I think that's what kind of led me to feel this I don't know what the right word is, but just this sense of discordance with what I was being told and what I believed about the world and about humans and about people. And yeah, anyway, I think just in a time where everything is so incredibly divided, that books have so much power to help us understand people who are different from us. And that's all. That's what I meant about
Oh,
that.
I mean, you take that even a step further with just all the banned books. It's absolutely fueled by fear.
Yes.
It's fueled
Oh,
by us thinking
yes.
outside the box or the exactly like you said, oppressive mindset of where they want us to go, what they want us to do, and not thinking for
Mhm.
ourselves. So I I 100% get that.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And then with my past as a teacher and working in the schools, I think like the whole banned book thing, oh my gosh, like it just, oh, it irks me. It irks me so bad. And so, yeah, yeah, I could wax on forever about it, but I love books. I love books. They're so powerful. And yeah, that's all.
Well, one of the things that I love that I've seen about you too is you're big into, I saw this must have been like a month or two ago, maybe more, manifesting your own reality and how you put stuff out there
Mm,
and you were saying basically, I want to do more fantasy or whatever. And then within a week, it was like, I might have been longer than that, but it was like people were reaching out to you for fantasy. So it's like you really do create your own reality and you can manifest whatever you want
yeah.
into kind of being. And I loved that when I saw you say that. So, how would you say that you've used that, I guess, in your changing careers from being a teacher to all of a sudden becoming a
Mm.
narrator?
Yeah. Okay. So when I talk about manifesting, I think like there's this idea of like, ooh, woo woo finger, like, wiggle your fingers or stars in the air or things like that. And, but I love the word because I think that like, for me, it's just about speaking things into the world. Like,
Mhm,
if if you don't speak things out, nobody else is going to know that this is something you want.
mhm,
And so, you know, I think there's a lot of power in knowing what it is you want, like having that really clear picture in your head of what it is that you want to do, and then saying it. Like saying it to your people, say it to your partner, say it to your friends, whatever, and then say it to people who are in the position to make that dream come true, And, whatever that looks like in your own circle or your own world. And then doing the hard work to make it happen, right? Like
yeah.
it's not just those first two steps. Like there's a lot of hard work. And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of had that attitude from the beginning with narration of like, I want to do something crazy. And I remember talking to my dad, and he owns his own business. And when I decided to leave teaching, of all of the people, he was honestly the most supportive. And I was so surprised by this, but like I remember early on in my journey having this conversation with him. I think like I had just got paid for my first book. Like the first couple books that I did, most narrators get their start, not all, but most of us get our start on ACX.
Mhm.
I'm doing like royalty share projects that we probably won't earn much of anything on. And that's okay because it's experience. It's how we build a catalog and just figure out what we're doing a little bit. And and so I had just done my first paying book. And I was talking to my dad about it. I was like, okay, what are the chances that I can actually make this into a career where, I'm making enough to sustain my family? And I remember he asked me, he was like, do you love it? And I kind of started crying. And I was like, I've never loved anything more. Like I didn't know I could feel this way about work. And I really did enjoy teaching until the end when it just kind of became clear I needed a change. Like I loved my job before that.
Yeah.
But the way that I felt voicing these books, I cannot explain to you. Like, it was such a transformative experience getting to just immerse myself in these stories and put my voice to them. And I started crying while I was telling him about it. And he started crying,
Oh.
and he was like, "That's all I need to hear.
Oh. Yeah.
You can make money and you love it this much.
Yeah.
You need to do this. Like, you can do this. Make it happen." And I think, like, that was kind of I think about that conversation a lot, and just kind of coming back to this point of, like, you know, the hard things. No, and that's not what I wanna say. Hold on. The things that are worth it
Yeah.
are often hard. They're often hard, and, so, yeah, like, I do think there was a lot of that. There was a lot of speaking it, there was a lot of hard work, there was a lot of asking for what I wanted. Like, I sometimes I get embarrassed about putting so much out on social media. I'm like, "What am I doing? This is crazy." The only social media account I had prior to narrative was a Facebook account that I, like, twice a year would post pictures of
Yeah.
my children on for our out of town relatives.
Yeah.
I didn't even have an Instagram. I was just Facebook and barely that. And and so now being in this place and, like, slowly kind of building this platform, it has been at times humbling for sure. But at the end of the day, like, putting yourself out there can make your dreams come true, you know? And so, yeah, okay. That's my spiel.
The believing in yourself and believing in what you love enough to do whatever you need to do to make it work and achieve it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So what kind of challenges did you face did you see when you first started? Was it like a slow roll into what basically you're doing now? Did it take a while to build up as a narrator? What kind of challenges did you face? Or was it kind of just like
Mm.
it came easily and well, maybe not easily, but I mean, nothing comes easy. Like we were saying, it's hard. You put in the hard work.
Right.
But how long did it take you to kind of build those platforms, build the
Mm.
listeners that would come back and stuff like that?
So, okay, I feel really lucky. From the very first audition that I booked, I never didn't have work. I always had projects. And I'm still waiting for it. I'm sure someday it will happen, but I've never had an open spot on my calendar that didn't get filled. And so in that way, I've been very lucky. And that said, like in the very beginning, I was recording, a much smaller amount than I do now.
Yeah.
Um, and it kind of like built up my capacity for what I could do in a day and in a week and in a month. And so, you know, in that way it's definitely built up. And then so okay, obstacles. I think for me, I had a lot of learning to do about acting, and that did take time. I do think like my build was slower than some other narrators, but I think that was the journey I needed to go on. Like I needed time to figure out who I was outside of teaching. I think so much of my identity had been wrapped up in caregiving, whether it was through teaching or through my own children and other areas of my life that I was just that person, you know?
Yeah.
And I I took a class fairly early on, and it was very, very helpful and very eye-opening for me. It was an acting for audio class, specifically like about acting for audiobooks.
Hmm.
And it was very intense, very intensive. It was 3 or 4 months long. We met every week. And one of the things that it helped me kind of hone in on was like I've talked about this in a video too, is this idea they didn't use the word code switching in this class, but like this idea of how we sound different in all these different places. Like and I feel like that's been one of the most transformative things for my narration is just understanding character voices, you're not just switching into sounding like this person or whatever. Like you're sliding. It's more of like a sliding in and taking on this persona, almost like, I am going to present myself differently in the classroom in front of 24 kids than I am going to present myself to my two best friends over margaritas. Or do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just, I think becoming aware of all of that was a really key thing for me. It took a lot of work, so much self-reflection, and growth, I think. So I'm so grateful to that. I feel like learning how to be an actor and learning how to be a narrator, I've understood myself so much better, which is something I never expected and has been super cool. That was definitely, how do I, it was hard. It was hard work, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I love.
and then I think like,
I
go
just,
on, go
I
ahead.
know, I love your patience with yourself. Like everything that you keep saying, you're like, I gave myself the patience, I gave myself the time. You allowed
Ah,
yourself to grow. Just even you're like, that was the journey that I needed, and that's beautiful in itself. Just even realizing that, because lots of people can't in their journey. We get so hung up on, oh, I need to do this fast. I need to, book these jobs. I need to go, 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 instead of just enjoying the journey and letting the journey take you to where you're
yeah,
supposed to be. So that's beautiful in itself.
yeah. And it's, I am certainly not perfect. It is, but I think that's something that I've learned through all of this is to give myself that time. Like, I mean, I look at where I am 3 years in, and there's still so many things I want to accomplish and so many goals that I have. And sometimes I'm like, why am I not further?
Yeah.
And then I have to just stop and be like, no, this is, this is my journey. This is my path. Comparing myself to anybody else or cheapening what I have achieved just because I still have things I want to do is it's just it's just stealing our joy. It's stealing my joy. Like I
Yeah.
think there's so much, yeah, there's, but I'm big on that. I'm big on the journey. I've gotten out of it just because time, holy moly. But I used to be a distance runner, and I think even like there's just a lot of parallels to that. Like I always say, like this career is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We're I'm here for the long game. And I'm always learning and always trying to improve and hone my craft. And so yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that energy is great. And it's what's going to take. I mean, we all get so caught up in imposter syndrome. And I tell everyone all the time, like,
Ah,
social media can be wicked in itself because we see everyone's basically highlight reel and where they're at. And we compare
uh-huh.
ourselves to them. And then we're comparing, likes and comments and shares. And you just get so bogged down with why am I not further or why am I not here? But you don't see what they're doing behind the scenes. You don't see their bank accounts. You don't see their sales. You don't, all the different things. And for whatever reason, your path is where you're on and where you have to learn things to get to where you're going. And like that was one of the things I was going to bring up. You do say enjoy the journey, not the destination, is what I've seen in your post before too. And so it's like, yeah, enjoy your journey on your way to your destination. And it could change too. You could be like, I want to go
Yeah.
over here now. I want to go over, we change and evolve. And if we allow ourselves that and the patience to become, then we do, even if it takes a
Yeah.
little bit longer. So I love that. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know what else to say. I think we both just said it all.
Look at us go.
Well, I guess segueing into that, there's been a lot of talk within the community too, especially amongst us women, of that we're colleagues, not competition. So that can kind of draw right into that as well. And I think I love seeing that rise within the community because there's so many, especially amongst women, that they could be, we see each other, lots of people see each other as competition. And I've never been that way. To me, I'm like, I want you to succeed as much as I want myself to succeed. So any woman is never a competition to me. I will straighten your crown and help you before I'll even help myself most of the time. So I guess maybe talk a little bit on that, especially in the narrator space.
Mm.
Colleagues, not competition.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel really fortunate. I have not seen like any of that kind of negative competitive energy from like any female narrators that I have come in contact with. Everyone is just so lovely and supportive. It's my favorite thing. Like sometimes I'll get put up for a role and maybe I don't have the availability or there's an accent that I can't do. And it's like my favorite thing to refer them to, some of my female narrator colleagues like, who I know would just smash it.
Yeah.
And, that's like my favorite thing to do. And in turn, that's happened to me several times. And I've been put up for things from my fellow female narrators. And I love that supportive energy. I think, I've said it before and I'm not the first one, but really and truly, like a rising tide lifts all boats. Like it's just such a positive energy. And, I've, and even outside of all of that, like I really am a firm believer in people over progress. Like people come first. Like that's more important than me booking a job. Like I'm always going to want to foster relationships and take care of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I like that. People over what was it going to say? Progress? Is that what you
Yeah, but then I didn't like it. I was like, that's not the right word.
But I got it.
That's not what I wanted to say.
Yeah,
They're like, but
it makes sense though. It works because over, I guess,
yeah.
others over yourself. It's just sort of like if someone else is better for the job, I don't know. I mean, and that's hard. It's hard because in that we have to look within ourselves and realize our shortcomings and see where we need to grow, and that's hard for a lot of people to do. And I guess that's where it brings into competition. But it's like I think that as women, if we all started lifting each other up, we could do amazing. That we'd be far more than magical. We'd be out of this world.
You betcha. We'll be the fairies.
Yeah.
I think, oh man, I had a thought and I lost it.
Happens all the time.
It happens all the time to me. Yes, it does.
I do that. I'm big into voice messages. So I'm always leaving them for people. And I'm notorious for having like that minute long break of just like thinking. And I'm like, that was a long pause. I'm really sorry. Because my thoughts will just leave me. I'll be like, what was I saying?
What was I saying?
What were you talking about? I don't even know. I don't know where I went right there. So do you have any tips?
That sounds familiar.
Do you have any tips for beginning narrators?
Yeah. Okay. So I have on my Instagram, I have like a story highlight that's for new narrators that kind of has like some information. And then on my TikTok, I have a pinned video where I give information about new narrators because I get asked that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my biggest tip, if somebody is interested in getting into narration, is to test it out before you commit. It's not something you can get into without a little bit of a paywall. Like investing in the equipment isn't necessarily cheap. And like the coaching and things like that maybe aren't strictly necessary, but are certainly helpful. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
And so I think like one thing that I hate to hear is that people tried it and then found out it wasn't really for them. And then they kind of, because it is a very particular type of person, I think, that will enjoy this in the long run.
Yeah.
Because it's very isolating. It can be anyway, depending on, how you utilize social media and things like that. But it can be. I mean, you're alone, at least physically, you're alone in dark, crowded little booth or little closet or whatever you have most of your day. And so there's that. And then it's very exacting. Like, you can't so much as like move wrong and have your shirt make a noise without having to go back and start a sentence again.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I love books. I would love to narrate. And it's like, try it.
Yeah.
You might. And if you do, like, go for it. So I always tell people, like, and I didn't come up with this. This was a famous narrator, Sean Allen Pratt, I think, was the one who came up with this test of like, take a book, go into a closet and shut the door and read that book out loud for 2 hours. And every day, every time you make a mistake, go back, start it over again. Every time you hear a noise outside, stop, go back, start the sentence again.
Wow.
Every time,
Yeah.
these kinds of things. And do that for a couple of weeks. Once, 2 hours a day for a couple of weeks and see if you really enjoy it over the course of that time. And if so, then go for it. And then there's resources and there's things like that. And I always say people can reach out. I'm happy to help. I don't do coaching because I am not at that point in my career where I'm gonna do that. But I can definitely refer people to coaches that I love and trust. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my daughter, she's almost 21, and she decided, she was like, maybe I'll get into voice acting. And that's exactly what I told her, that I'd heard through some other people. It's just like, get a book, go sit in a closet, dark closet, try reading it and see if you like it. Like, don't just be like, oh, I'm gonna, you might not enjoy it. And if you do, then hey, let's pursue it. But like you said, I mean,
Absolutely.
there's coaching, there's mics, there's a whole bunch of other stuff rather than just jumping straight in. And she might enjoy it, but like I was telling the person I was talking to about it too, she's like, she's 21. She's exploring many options of what she might be interested in, which is exactly what you do in your early 20s, but it doesn't mean they're going to stick. So we'll see if this one sticks. We'll see. It's a thought right now, but a month ago it was, I'm going to be a famous guitarist, and like a couple months before that it was, I'm going to go to cosmetology school. So she's going through the waves of figuring it out.
Absolutely. As she should. As she should.
Right? It's like, we'll see where she ends up. I don't know. Time will tell on that one. I wouldn't be, I don't know. So there's only a few people here, but I kind of asked you before if you were willing to talk about this. Me and you are going to be working on a project coming up in 2026.
Yes.
And I
am so excited.
I'm very excited for this. So I don't know if you know much about the book rather than just your audition. I don't know what they even told you in your audition. But this is probably
Not very much.
Not very much. This is probably my favorite book that I've ever written, just because of the context of what it deals with and everything, in the mental health aspect of it. And so when I was going into the auditions and auditioning people, the biggest thing that I had is, I was like, someone has to do the voice in her head right. I was like, that I'll know it when I hear it. It's like, whoever can do the voice in the head right, like, that's it. And so when I heard your audition, I was like, that's it. That's perfect. That's like the perfect voice of that I needed for like that. Cause I was like, the chick, like, yes, we can play the chick, but when it comes to a mental illness, like being able to depict that. So everyone who's here in the audience, just know that Savannah is going to slay this project, because you were able to pick up that kind of inner turmoil voice that I feel like, and the intrusive thoughts that I feel like a lot of us deal with and don't talk about.
Yeah.
And the perfect kind of way where it sounded like her, but didn't. And I just loved that. So I wanted to tell you that your audition was amazing.
Thank you. That I can't tell you how much that means. I love mental health rep, and I have a lot of family members, close family members, who have had pretty significant battles with different mental health stuff. And so that always feels so personal for me. And yeah, I was just so honored to audition, and I couldn't believe I got cast. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yay.
You shouldn't not believe that. Like, no. And I had, like I said, I've had my eye on you for a while. I've been watching your socials, and I've been watching you do your thing. And I was like, she can. And not only that, you had the perfect like Southern belle. Cause I was like, I want her to sound Southern, but like a Southern belle. And you nailed it. Like both of them. I was like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's Rose. That's perfect. And I actually wrote this book years ago, before you even started narrating. And I think that's beautiful in itself, that I wrote a book before you even went into narration, But at that time, it wasn't ready for audio. And so then it waits and it sits there. And then when it does come to audio, now, you're narrating, and you were perfect for the part. That to me is beautiful in itself as well. Because if I had pushed it through audio at the time, like, I wouldn't have had the perfect person to play Rose. So I'm really excited for it. Unfortunately, you have to wait like a year. So
A little while.
it's a little while. Yeah. It's
A little bit.
It's just a little bit. And well, it's not, it's a little less than a year, I guess you can say, 'cause it's September, which I was very excited about because that's Suicide Awareness Month. So it's going to be nice to be able to release a book about mental health during a mental health awareness month.
I love that so much.
Yeah. So, and I know that I did reach out to Blue Nose and I asked them, I said, what do you guys suggest on, narrator reveals? And they were like, oh, we suggest waiting 4 to 6 months. And I was like, I can't wait 4 to 6 months to tell people about this project. And so that's why I was excited. I was like, Savannah, can we please talk about it?
Girl, I will. I'm like, yeah.
So, and I know that, and you don't even have the book yet, so you haven't even been able to read the whole story.
No, I just had those couple pages from the audition.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be such a great project.
I believe so too. And so I guess I could just reveal it. So did they tell you who your co-star is? I'm assuming they did.
I believe so.
You believe so?
Yeah. I'm like, in my head, I was saying, then you asked me, and I'm like, am I right?
Am I right?
I think so.
Okay. So I'm very excited too, because when I wrote this book, this was basically the person that I wanted to cast in this role. And we were going back and forth, and they were like, we don't know if that's going to happen. And I kind of like hung out and I was like, no, I really want this. And so have you ever been cast with this person before?
So I did a multicast with him over the summer.
Okay.
And then there's one other project that I was cast in, but that's not going to come till after yours.
Okay. So that's cool.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I guess I will go. I mean, I could just tell everybody because they say it's up to the author. So I know Tally's like, ooh. So your co-star is going to be Jason Clark. And I am super excited for your guys' pairing.
I was wrong.
You were wrong?
Alan.
Oh, shit. Listen to your... Well, then I don't know who they said.
Wait, hold on. I'm having a moment.
You're having a moment? I thought that you knew. Okay, so hey, we caught that live. That's amazing.
Oh no!
You didn't know that?
That's very exciting. No.
So then let's go back and let's ask you again. Have you ever been cast with this person?
No.
Oh, I love that.
No,
I love that. So everyone in the audience, and now Savannah knows. So now, yeah, we all found out at the same time. That's exciting. Yeah, no, so your co-star is Jason Clark.
Okay.
I love that.
She's just a little bit excited. She's just a little bit excited.
I love that. I love that I got to be the one to tell you.
I know. That was really fun. In my head, I was thinking a totally different person.
Well, now you're going to have to tell me when we get off this live. I'm going to send you a message. You're going to have to tell me, well, who did you think it was?
I'll tell you.
Yeah, we were going back and forth.
Really exciting.
Yeah, we were going back and forth with some people, and then it came in at the last second because he was my number one choice, and they were like, I said, no, I kind of want to hold out for him. And he came in at the like kind of little bit, and he wanted to know a little bit more about the project. And then they sent me an email. They said he's in. And they were like, we suggest you book him. I'm like, yes. Done. So yeah, cool. You two on this book for next September is going to be amazing. And I can't freaking wait for it. So.
Me neither.
So I know that they say they're like, so I'm not going to be like really spreading the news about it until we get kind of a little bit closer, because they were like, we suggest waiting until like the 6-month mark. And I'm like, oh, well, that's only about 3 more months. So I can tell everyone here.
Well, I will not spread it.
When I start spreading, we can both start spreading the news. How about that?
That sounds perfect. Mom's the word. You got it. Exactly, Brenna.
Oh, yeah, but it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a great book. And I can't wait to put it in your hands and just let you read it in its entirety.
Yes.
So I'm excited. I'm so excited to work with you, and I'm so thankful that you came and you talked with me tonight, and hopefully it's the beginning of a great friendship, because that's my thing. Like I started this kind of podcast to network with people and get to talk to people and get to know them more and let others get to know you more in your work, but also hopefully create, connections within our community and within our book world.
Yeah. I
Because
love that so much.
yeah, connections with it. I mean, I know we all see each other floating around online, but how often do we really sit down and talk or jump into each other's DMs or be able to have conversations like this? So that's kind of why I started doing this, to be able to connect.
Well, I love it. I'm so glad that you asked me to join you.
And well, I'm glad that I got to reveal the male narrator to you. That was fun.
Me too.
Okay, so before we end, I'm going to hit you with a little rapid fire. This is so everyone can kind of get to know you a little bit better. And they like to sound off in the kind of chat too. If they want to, they can sound off with their pick for the rapid fire. So you just got to answer one or the other, okay? So coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Hot dogs or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Okay. Mountains or beach?
Mountains.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Okay. Morning or evening?
Ooh. Oh, I'm taking too long. Just pick. Morning.
Morning. So cats or dogs?
Cats.
Cats. I love it. I saw on your little thing about you, it said that you had some purr babies. And I know there's lots of people here, and I'm a big cat mom too. So I love that.
Yes.
My cats are.
He's my third. He's my third child.
Does he sit in your booth with you?
No. So she's very loud. Cat. Like her purr is epic. So she's just a little too loud to be in here.
Got it.
So yeah, I wish.
You wish. So salty or sweet?
Sweet.
Sweet. Texting or talking?
Ooh, it depends on the context. Voice note. No. We're gonna say texting.
Texting. Do you notice that, and this is a little off topic here for the rapid fire, but after talking all day long, do you hit points where you're like, I just don't want to talk anymore?
I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
I would think so. I would absolutely. I'm like, because I mean, like, that's your job. Your job is to talk and to do. So at the end of the day, I'd be like, I would not want to talk anymore if I had a job like that.
I know. I really try to hang in there and be a good mom. And then when my kids go to bed, if my husband wants to talk, I'm like, okay, you tell me everything and I will nod when I need to nod. Yeah. Okay. No.
No, I feel that. I did the same thing with mine. He was talking at the storm earlier and he's just asked a question. I forgot. And I'm like, you're talking a lot. He's like, well, don't you want to talk to me? And I'm like, I kind of want to turn my brain off and just relax for a minute. But you can keep talking.
Right?
Yeah. So dark chocolate or milk chocolate? Polka dots or stripes?
Polka dots.
Okay. City or countryside?
Countryside, most definitely.
Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Okay. Time travel or teleportation?
Time travel.
Okay. Where would you go?
Oh my gosh, so many. I don't even know what I would choose first. I've always been really curious about ancient Rome, but it's really scary. So I don't know.
I was talking to when I did this live with Joe Arden, he picked time travel too. And I said, I did the same thing. I said, where would you go? And he was like, well, I think I would first go to a library and research everywhere where I'd want to go. So then I could be prepared for where I went. I was like,
he's slick.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. But that makes sense because, and like I told him, I was like, yeah, because, you don't want to end up in we all want to go, to basically back in time or everything, but you don't want to be anywhere where there's going to be the plague or there's going to be, like you said, ancient Rome, dangerous. Like, it's like, yeah, sounds great to visit, but Yeah.
I know.
You would want to be aware of what you have to be facing when you get there.
I know. It's so fun to think in hypotheticals, but then like would I actually want to time travel to the past? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little dicey. But like time travel romances are my favorite. And so if I think about it in terms of like romantic time travel,
Yeah.
Outlander or
Oh, I love Outlander.
discovery of witches, or when they travel back to the 1500s or whatever it is, 1600s maybe. Anyway, Eureka. It's just fun.
Yeah. I agree. I wrote a time travel romance and it was fun. It was fun being able to like have the life that they were in and then the going back and, traveling back. I agree. So pet dragon or pet unicorn?
Ooh, dragon.
Dragon. Would you rather have a rewind or a pause button?
Well, that's hard. Let's go with pause.
Pause. Would you rather be invisible or fly?
Fly.
Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Okay. Tattoos or piercings?
Ooh, piercings.
Okay. Pirates or ninjas?
Pirates.
And in a game, would you rather the truth or the dare?
Probably truth.
I am that way too, because I've been on the end of one too many bad dares. So yeah.
Well, and that's what it is. That's trauma.
Yes.
Talking. Okay.
Yes. That's exactly
Truth
it.
or dare trauma.
Like when I was a teenager playing, sleepovers with my girlfriends, I would always pick dare because I wouldn't want to be like the sissy one that wouldn't do it. And then I always got dared to do the most horrible things. So then it became, no, I'm just gonna stick with truth. You can, and then you all can decide if I'm really telling the truth or not. So
Yep.
Well, that's all I have for you tonight.
Okay. That was so fun.
I hope you had fun. Well, I had fun. I had fun hearing your reaction to your co-star because I thought for sure you knew it.
No, I really didn't. And I'm going to look through my email because I thought I was told someone else.
Oh, wow.
I might have just like made some weird assumption or something. Like, sometimes in your head, you're like, oh, I think it's this for, I don't know. Like I just made an assumption and then I thought it was true. Nope. I did not know.
It's going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. And I can't wait. I'm sad that we have to wait almost a year, but years go by really fast. So before we know it, we're going to be there. And then, we'll be talking and it'll be post-release and I'll be like, hey, remember when I told you who your co-star was and you didn't know?
Yeah.
We'll have all the history behind us before we know it.
That's right.
But I'm excited. Thank you for stopping by and talking with me. And thank you for everyone who was here and listened. And I'm glad that I got to reveal that little nugget. And I had fun. I especially talking with you about just your vibe and your energy and what you bring and your views on life. They're so refreshing. And I genuinely love your outlook on many, many, many things. So I thank you again for sitting down with me and talking. And I'm very excited to be able to work together this next year.
Thank you, Evelyn. I'm so excited too.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.